Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of ZinoNation. I'm joined tonight by my regular co-host, Marcus Crawford, and we have a special guest tonight, Chris, the QC guy, and we have plenty to talk about. Last week, we kind of did an Anafi Nation episode with Billy Kyle, but we're back to the good old Zino tonight. He just recently got a new firmware update to the flight controller, which made some big improvements, and we'll go back to actually flight controller 5.151 that we didn't get to talk about because it kind of arrived during the Memorial Day weekend where we were kind of off that week. So, Marcus, what do you have for us tonight?
Well, okay, Ron. So the the good old Hubsan Zino. It's another day and it's another update. So I've been doing a lot of testing, and I know that Chris has been doing a lot of testing as well. And our friend in Ireland, Hugh Pollock, has got some really good videos out where he's been doing some testing. And Ron, I understand you've been doing some testing as well. So I think we'll all have plenty to talk about the new features. Back to you, Ron.
Okay, well, I'm going to introduce our special guest tonight, Chris. And but before we get into too much Xeno information, Chris has partnered with Banggood, well, not partnered with, but created some links to Banggood to raise money for children's hospitals in the Pittsburgh area. I think specifically cancer. But Chris has a special announcement, some good news. I'm going to throw it to Chris right now.
Thank you, Ron. Yes, that is, first off, it's an affiliate program. Everybody and their brother kind of does it, that has YouTube channels or Facebook groups or what have it. But yeah, I started out with it once I learned of how it works and everything, thinking this is going to be impossible. It's going to take forever. But with the support of so many great people, the goal of $1,000 by January of 2020 has already been met. So I can just move on to the next. And the Children's Hospital in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania is the one I chose this time. And I can choose other ones because they're all over the place. And then the other thing I want to do is maybe save up for something to do at Christmas time for kids less fortunate. But I want to give a big shout out to Matty Dredge. He is the one who made the final purchase that got me over that $1,000 mark. And he bought a Mavic Pro, so a Fly More package. So thank you to everyone who participated and supported this. And thank you, Maddie, for making that final purchase. Oh, and I have to give a shout out to my number one fan, a shout out for Maddie's girlfriend, Bex. Hello, Bex.
Well, thank you, Chris, and thanks for doing that. That's just a great thing. We always talk about doing good in the drone community, and that certainly, is great stuff you're doing there. Helping out the sick children, and I can't say enough about it. And I don't know if there's any way we can help out by dropping the links in the show notes here. If anybody's watches the show, maybe we could somehow get the links in the show notes here that help your cause along a little bit.
Yeah, I can drop some links for some of the more popular things that are selling, like the Fimi X8SE. I've got some 30% off DJI products, and I can drop those in there. And
excellent.
The other thing I want to point out is I'm going to do like kind of an announcement thing on my channel when I do actually receive the funds. That was the one thing. I've yet to receive 1 ounce of funds. It's just the tally shows in my ledger that I have through that little program, and they say it takes weeks to get it. So crossing my fingers, everything goes well there. I guess you have to wait for everything to be shipped and make sure they're not returned and refunded and stuff like that, so people aren't scamming them and getting the commission. So
right. Okay, well, I'm gonna throw it to my co-host Marcus. Where do you want to start tonight, Marcus?
Well, we can start at the top. So we probably should take the new features that they added in the flight control version 1.1.52, and we also should add that they updated the app. The At least for the iPhone, it's updated. I see a lot of people with Android are saying that they don't have it yet, so I'm a little confused about that. I don't know if that's available or not, but one of the things that people have been asking for from the very start is the photo album, to be able to look at that in the app. And I know Ron looked at that today, and when I did my flight and review of it the other day, gosh, it was pretty darn simple and it worked pretty slick. I was nervous about it because, and I'll bet Chris will have something to say about this. The first time I ever tried to fly the Zino, I thought I knew what I was doing, and I fly lots of drones, and hey, I can figure this out. So the first thing I did was connect the my iPhone via Wi-Fi to the Zino. Well, that's a big mistake, and my first flight almost ended in disaster. And until I figured out that I wasn't as smart as I thought I was, and actually watched a few videos and figured out how to hook up to the Hubsan. But the reason that I'm bringing that up is when one of the things that Hubsan asks you to do to see this album is once you're connected and you're flying, they say then to connect your phone to the drone via Wi-Fi, and then it will save your pictures and video to your phone at your request. I think there's a selector there that you can tell it whether you want them to save them or not. Now, I'll be honest with you, that is not a feature that I particularly need because I use the SD card and upload them to my computer when I get home. But I can say that I tried it and it does work. Yeah, Chris, what's your experience with that?
I've tried it, and same thing. I do everything off of my SD card, but I haven't experienced any problem with it, but I'm not comfortable being connected through the Wi-Fi at the same time. It would have benefited me the other day because if you've seen in the group where I've been talking about having all those startup disconnects, I had one where they all happened before launch, and I got one where I actually launched it. It was overhead disconnect, and it wouldn't do anything. I had no control whatsoever. At that point, I could have used virtual sticks and brought it right down and landed it and resolved the problem. And I was in a situation where I didn't want to turn off the controller and have it go into return to home because I was around trees. So fortunately, a little bit of the movement got it down low enough to where I just grabbed that sucker and pulled it down upside down and made it turn off. But connecting to the Wi-Fi just for the sole purpose of having that, it's not a big benefit to me. It's kind of like a lot of features on quads that have so many features. There might be one, maybe two that I'm interested in, and that's something definitely that not. Because you get much better pictures when you pull them from the video anyhow. So
kind of like the hand gestures with the Spark. Everybody buys a Spark and they try the hand gestures once and then that's it.
Yeah.
They're done with it.
Yeah.
With the photo album thing. First of all, it's just kind of like they have to be feature compatible. Every $100 or less toy drone in the world has that feature. So, there's no reason why the Hubsan can't have it. And, even on my DJI drone, sometimes I'm out flying and I'm taking pictures and I want to see if I got the picture exactly the way I wanted it to. And it is nice just to try to check on the fly, because if you got something, if you got the wrong angle, you can go back and take it again. So, I mean, it has some use. It's not a killer feature. It's not something I'm required. But, I mean, again, how hard could it be to implement? Almost every $100 Wi-Fi toy drone has this feature. So I'm glad they finally got it working and added on correctly. Before we move on, I want to make a special shout out for Better with the Drones in here. He's one of the early Zino owners. He's flies in the Chicago area. He had some videos up real early in December of last year. He had an unfortunate incident this weekend or the end of last week where he had like a flyaway with his Zino, and unfortunately, I think his Zino is gone now. So I just want to, send my, I hate to say that, use a strong word like condolences, but I just want to say I'm sorry to see his little Zino kind of go away. So
yeah, we don't. The point of it is, every one of us, in that we would all be gutted if we lost a drone like that. So I'm very sympathetic as well.
Yeah, I hate to see anytime anybody loses whether it's their fault, whether it's the drone's fault or a quad, whatever. You hate to see that that happen anyhow, especially someone like him. He's very active on my channel as well, and always leaving a nice comment or something. So yeah, if I don't know if he's interested in another one, I'd like to try to figure out a way to get him one through maybe Banggood or Miffley. I don't even know where he's located, but might be able to help him out with a good deal.
Yeah, and his first thoughts, he'd rather move on to a better camera drone. I mean, I think the three of us could maybe recommend the Anafi to him.
I was going to say we could all probably agree on one quad.
Yeah, and his name is John, right? I think is that
John Sheehan,
yeah.
I believe.
Yeah. Hey, John, I'm telling you, the Anafi is on sale right now, a refurb. You can get it on Amazon for $454. And I'll tell you, the three people on this show right now would give that one big thumbs up.
And John, Marcus will provide the link in the show notes at some point, or we'll send it to you personally for that Amazon link.
And John, check out my channel probably by tomorrow morning. I'm going to do it late tonight, but you'll see a really good video from that Parrot Anafi. That's a seller.
Hey, so also, I don't want you to miss it, Ron. Senator Perry has a pretty good story there too.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Tell us the story, Marcus.
Well, he's saying that his unique breeze got stuck in the bottom of a tree, and he used Wi-Fi to download the photos and videos from the drone. So at least he was able to get
from the ground to the tree. He went down.
Good story.
That can help you now with the Zino. If you had something like that happen, you had some epic footage on the Zino, you can still get the epic footage.
Yeah.
So,
all right, Marcus. We covered the album. What's the next thing you want to talk about with the new flight control update?
Okay, so probably the 800-pound gorilla, and the one that I know the three of us have been waiting for a long time, and is no question the most useful, was that they implemented, and I believe and Chris, you probably could answer this. I don't know if it's a combination of the app and the flight control firmware, or one or the other. I don't care which one it is. We've got it now, and you can actually control. The one that was most important to me, particularly, was the yaw speed. When you're trying to turn the drone, it was so sensitive that it was really hard to get smooth footage. But now you can adjust the vertical speed, the horizontal speed, and the yaw speed, and you can set them at whatever percentage you want. So it allows you way more control of the quad.
Yeah, I used it. All my testing was pretty much today, kind of last minute. Yeah, I was a skeptic. I'm always a skeptic with Hubsan stuff, and I don't mean that in a bad way. It's just kind of from history. But I took it down. My very first thing I did was I went all the way down to 10% on everything, thinking they're not going to do it low enough. man, I was flying, I'm in the trees and everything, and I didn't have a close call there, but if I wasn't paying attention, I would not have made that turn and hit the brakes quick enough to. But I mean, I am so excited about it. I love it. It's the first time this thing has felt like just a responsive, stable quad, and you have the control to do it. It's awesome. But to answer your question, 1152 with the app, I can't answer 100% that is the solution. If anybody that has an Android, a iOS device that downloaded the app first and tried it, I would imagine it probably didn't work. I would say 1152 has to do something with it. I think in the firmware changelog, they might have said you have to use it with the latest.
You're right. You're absolutely
that changelog. That's another thing to talk about. Did you see what it even said about this?
If you can decipher that changelog, you're way smarter than me.
It said, what did it say about the precise landing? It said,
it calls it some sort of apron, right?
Well, yeah. It just said it said install, and then please use the UI app or the UI precise landing function. I'm like,
AI function or something.
What the hell are y'all talking about? I mean, why don't you say in the changelog, which that's my old changelog that they've butchered, but why don't you say in the changelog, this is what the change is to begin with? Like, they didn't state anything changed.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, yeah.
Hey, Marcus, I want to get back to your question about the app and the firmware update. I believe you're right on that, because remember when you had the app and you had the camera functions in there, but they didn't work, and then they finally did a firmware update, and then those camera functions, like say changing your sharpness and your contrast, they were there before they actually worked, and then a firmware update made them workable. So I think that kind of proves what you just said.
It's probably a combination of both. Yeah.
I think that this camera update, which was prior to all of it, I think that kind of was something working towards it, because the camera update is basically the camera and gimbal. This is where the Zino actually really confuses me. Like with the 501, it was real easy to figure out TX, RX, FC, what kind of they control and all that. But with the Zino, your gimbal basically is your RX update. It's your receiver update. But it also has other functions, and it corresponds and works in a marriage kind of with the camera, where like on the 501 and other stuff, that camera firmware was always a separate entity, and it could mess up some flight characteristics, but didn't play the game that it does on Zino. So I think that camera update was kind of like a first thought. We got this part done. Let's get it in there. It will work with the rest of the firmware. Then you introduce 1152 that really brings it all together with that in the app. That's just my guess, because I think you do need some sort of a receiver update in there for that to all happen.
Back to the speed controls. I just did the update this morning on the Zino, and I took it out to the park just for a short flight this afternoon. Didn't have a lot of time. I was in a small park. I put my settings. I put my speed and my horizontal and vertical at 50%, and I put the yaw at 25%. I mean, I cruise around this little ballpark like, it was so precise. I mean, I could have flew over home plate for a strike. And before, we've all had, like, Chris, you made the comment when you were at that waterfall, it moved around so much, it was hard to get close or whatever. I bet you'd get a lot closer to that waterfall.
And I'm going to. I'm definitely going to. Like, if you look at that second one I did, you'll see it fought to the right the whole time. I could not hold it to the left. And it did a little dancing around a lot. And that's also because you're trying to compensate, and it was always overreacting by how hypersensitive that thing was. So now, if I drop everything down 10%, except for jetting up if I need to. I think I'll be able to do real well with that waterfall. So I've got to go back.
You got to make a part 3. Is it a part 3?
Yeah, it'll be a part 3.
You got to make a part 3.
I got to throw a little warning out there. So our mutual friend Hugh Pollock was telling me in a chat, he goes, be careful of slowing that thing down. He goes, man, you can't react fast enough.
I mean, I almost had it as slow as the Anafi in film mode out of the box. Remember how slow that was on the y'all out of the box before we changed it?
Boy, no kidding. That thing was it was glacial in the way that it moved. And I turned mine up, I don't know, probably another 10% or something. And it's still slow. But the problem I had with the way the Anafi was out of the box was that, hey, if you were trying to turn, boy, you would be taking a pretty wide arc.
You definitely.
Yeah, if you grabbed that thing and took it right out of the box and jet set out of there towards any structure or tree or anything, you better jam it in reverse because it wasn't going to make that turn.
Yeah.
Right. Luckily, it has good air brakes.
Yeah.
Well, also you can adjust it. Like from the flipping factory, they have all of those adjustments already in there.
That's why I think it's odd that they chose that low of a setting as a default setting. If you have the control, I don't think it's safe to have it that low for people like me that I wanted to be completely fresh and new to it. And I just grabbed it and I put it up in the air. I read what I needed to. I put it up in the air, and the first shocker was that turn. I was like, "Holy man!"
Yeah, I agree. It was a bad choice, but I'm sure the reason they made the yaw so slow, and especially in the film mode, was because of only having a 2-axis gimbal. They wanted to make all the turns very smooth for the video, and they overcompensated with that setting. But I'm sure that was their mindset. Hey, we don't want to get anybody complaining about the the roll and the yaw, so we're gonna make it so slow there won't be any.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I agree. It's good to have it go that slow, but since you have the control to change that, I just thought it was odd that they made that their default setting that low.
Right. Listen, I want to jump into something real fast. Marcus and I talked about this off air a little bit. One of Marcus and I's biggest gripes about the Zino from basically day one is the crabbing, where it would kind of fly sideways. And during what I'm going to shorten the number 151, and now during 152, I flew it today. I didn't see a crab one at all, and I tried to really look at it. I tried to fly in as straight as lines I couldn't see the slightest bit of crabbing today.
Well, let me add. So I when I first updated to 151, I had almost the worst crabbing I'd ever seen with it. I did a return to home that I swear that drone came back sideways. I mean, it was so far off it wasn't even funny. But then with 5.2, it's just been straight as an arrow. And then I flew it just previous to upgrading to 5.2. I had it out at the lake and I flew it, and I noticed that flight, it was also straight as an arrow. So I don't even know what to say. I'm just glad that it's working right.
It's funny because that right there is the same playover of so many different things. Everybody experiences something different. But if you go into any other group of any other type of quad, not any, but your top quads, you're seeing everybody's having the exact same for the most part, whatever that common issue is. But with the Zino, like the disconnect that I was having at startup after startup after startup, other people were having it so differently. I mean, there was 3 or 4 different scenarios of these disconnects happening. And, same with like you with your crab flight, mine, I noticed that in 5.1 just reduced, and I was very happy with it just reducing and, still being there. It didn't bother me so much, just so I saw some progress. But today I don't know because I didn't look at the footage, but like Ron said, viewing it from down below, it looked like it was flying straight. But I did fly it out to its 1,000-meter wall, and from the ground it looked all right, but a majority of my flight I was just whipping that thing around at 100, and then I would slow it down and show the difference of kind of whipping it around and doing figure eights and getting close to the trees and stuff.
Hey, we got a question in the app here. So Dennis, or in the app, in the chat, Dennis Neifler is asking about if you adjust the yaw and the other speeds down, does sport mode counteract it? And that is a big no, Dennis. I actually purposely tested that today, and that this little guy right here does absolutely nothing.
That is there for your entertainment only. If you're a fidgeter, that's all that's there for.
I tried today too. I put all my settings the way I wanted them in normal, and I hoped that switching to sport mode would turn everything up to 100, but it didn't. It just kept it in the settings I was in. But Chris, do you think there could come a update where maybe they would allow you to tune the normal to the settings you want, and then by flipping over the sport, it would throw everything back up to 100%, like it could learn your preferred settings on the normal button?
That'd be cool.
That would be cool. I really don't see them implementing that, but then again, they succeeded pretty much with this precise landing, and that was a shocker to me. So they might be able to do something like that, but it'll never, I don't think, ever serve its purpose of, right now we are actually flying sport mode. And if anybody watching now or the recorded portion of this watches, you're flying sport mode right now. If that function ever works on the controller, you're actually going to go to normal, which will put you into like 60% mode. It's 60% all across the board for all channels. But for that to work as like a memory to your preset, that would have to be within the app, I would imagine, where you're actually making those controls, and then you could click like a save and it would put it into a log, I would think.
Yeah. Hey, so one more thing before we get off of that subject. I just want to point out to people that one of the issues with the Zino and being able to control it, even with being able to put the speed down, is these gimbals. There's absolutely, this is a toy grade controller, and there just is no resistance to these things. And so that's part of what makes it more difficult to control. And if there's ever a Zino Advanced or a Zino 2 or whatever, one of my wishes would be that they give us a real controller on that, and I'd be happy to pay more money for it.
Hey, Chris, what's that high-end controller that Hubsan made for a lot of their other drones? Do you think they can report that to work for the Zino?
The H7000.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that thing's a monster. That thing, I sold mine a few months back, maybe 2 months ago. I don't think so. They've given up on that, and it's a shame because when Hubsan brought that out, they were ahead of the game with that thing, and they never did a single thing with it. Like, it didn't have GPS. It didn't have. We were all installing CMOS batteries in them, and some of us put GPS in them because the attachment was there and the plug was there, just hoping that someday an update would come along and just make it start working. But I don't see that. I don't really see them using anything like that. Plus, I mean, the Zino can only do so much. I mean, they're going to pack it with as much as they possibly can. This is not going to be the last new feature for it. They will use every channel that sucker has to where you'll be doing these crazy combination buttons and stuff on your controller to make something work. Or the app's just going to get packed with stuff. But as far as they can push the chips and boards in that, then they'll definitely do it. Because, I mean, whoever thought the 501s would get to where they got? I mean, they're not anything extravagant, but I never thought they'd have all the features and, waypoints and all the different stuff that they have.
Hey, Chris, I don't know if you've got chat open, but
yeah.
Dennis is talking to you directly in there.
I do, but I don't look over just because they. No, I have to correct you, Dennis. How dare you? That's an insult because they're engineers. Okay, they're engineers, and those 15-year-olds work hard for that title. Joke, everybody, joke.
Yeah, everybody laugh.
Yeah.
Hey, Marcus, you brought up precise landing. To anybody that's watching the show that doesn't know what the precise landing is and how it works, would you give us a brief overview of precise landing since you executed it several times?
I have spent way more time messing around with precision landing on the Hubsan Zino than anybody ever should. But actually, I had a great time doing it. So I tried it the other day. If you watch my video that's already up, I just never could get it to work. It never worked right. I had on my landing pad, and by the way, on the Zino, it's not like precision landing on a DJI product or something. The Zino is specifically looking for a landing pad, whereas like if your DJI drone is just looking for a pattern of wherever you took off from. And in fact, the DJI product, it goes up so high and it literally takes a picture of where it took off from for reference when it's coming back. Zino doesn't do that. It's looking for that landing pad, that round landing pad. It recognizes the H on there, etc. And it uses the camera that you normally use for video to do that. And so you cannot do precision landing when you are using the camera. So if you've got video on, as it comes down to land, has a little dialog box on there that'll come on and it'll tell you that it can't do precision landing while you're taking video. So I tried it several times with video off, and I had the orange side up on my pad, and it just couldn't find it. It never really found it, and I never achieved that. Today I went out and I flipped the landing pad over to the blue side, and lo and behold, it could find it. And I had I think 2 or 3 successful landings with it, and others not so successful. And we had some suggestions on how to do that, because and I know Chris will have a lot to say about this. What Hubsan doesn't do is ever give you any instructions. You're on your own. You got to figure out how to do it. But one of the suggestions is that as it came down and you saw that it found that landing pad, you would then hit the landing button again, and that would prompt it to say, okay, that's it. That didn't really seem to do anything. And then another suggestion was that you touch the FPV screen on that target. It'll actually show a target on the FPV screen, and if you touch that, that would tell it where the landing pad is. Well, in my experience, that wasn't it either. It just does it all on its own, and it's really odd. Sometimes it'll come down and it'll look like it's got it perfectly, and you think it's going to land perfectly. Then all of a sudden it just loses the target and lands to the side or whatever. But at the end of the day, and I think all 3 of us on this panel will agree, and probably a lot of you guys in the chat room, the way to launch and land the Zino is just in your hand. Because of the way it's shaped. I guess I'll take a second to fold it out here so we can see. Sorry guys, I should have been more prepared than this. But so when you're landing, for me, and I'm interested to see how Chris and Ron do it. For me, it's really easy to come at it from the side. I wouldn't try to. I saw like Al Duran at Duranify. He was coming at it from the front. I don't think I would do that. I come at it from the side, grab a hold of it. You just pull the stick down on the controller. Boom, it's done. And then the launch is even easier. This is the easiest thing to launch from your hand. You just simply hold the drone out. You hit the launch button with your thumb with your other hand, and it literally just flies up out of your hand. So precision landing to me is an answer looking for a problem. So I'll Chris, well, I'd be happy to hear. I'm sure you'll have some interesting things to say about that.
No, I mean it's definitely like you said, because I call these handles right here, these little indentations. You can grab it really easily. And as you see the way I have it, just with these two fingers, my thumb and that finger, um, it, you're literally just doing a big pinch. But that's really all you need because it's got a lot of weight to it. It's not like the Anafi that kind of falls into your hand and you're juggling it. So yeah, I do it from the side because that's the natural flow of your hand. But I've caught it from the back as well. A majority of the time, though, I always hand launch, and I do usually catch it when I land it. But yeah, I agree. I do it the exact same way as you are. I don't want to do it ahead because not only the gimbal being there, but it just doesn't feel right. It actually feels comfortable on the side and the back. It feels natural.
Well, plus you can come up from underneath it, right? You can just reach up underneath, and you're never anywhere near the props.
Right.
How about you, Ron? Oh, you're answering. I'm sorry, you were probably right in the middle of.
No, I was just in the chat room here. I'm not a hand catcher, but also I'm not a big precision landing person. I usually land it myself. I usually land all my drones myself. Not always, but more often than not, I do a manual land. But the question I have for you guys, and maybe Chris specifically, we know the DJI drones have had precision landing. I guess the Mavic Pro 1 was the first drone I knew that had precision landing, and it didn't have it out of the box. It was a feature that got added on down the road, and now the Mavic 2 has it, and some of the DJI drones also have it now. But has there ever been a drone that doesn't have downward facing cameras and sensors on the bottom to have precision landing? Is Hubsan at first to have precision landing without downward facing cameras and sensors?
I kind of feel like, I don't follow all of the quads out there, but I kind of feel like they are. And I was thinking that today because I wanted to talk about it in my video, but I made my video strictly about the speeds. But yeah, I wanted to say, this really is, if it does work well, because at that time I had a hard time with it. I never successfully did it. Plus I gave up because of you, Marcus. but I'm glad I did because I would have spent too much time on it. But I was thinking, wow, if they pull this off, I'm not going to say epic, but it's a big deal for them. I think it really is, because the fact that it is being done with the camera. I don't know if anybody else has done that. Somebody has to have done it, but
well, you have to applaud them for even trying, right?
Yeah, yeah.
They even tried to do it, and it's really fun. You need to try it, Chris, because it's really fun. And like I said, use that blue side up, and it sees that pretty good. But boy, you see that target, and it's moving around looking for it's really fun to watch it on the FPV screen.
Right, I'm gonna have to do it just for, again, it just sounds fun, even if I don't want to. Yeah. I just got to see it do it a few times.
Yeah, and it goes back to kind of like what you said about the spark and all that kind of the gestures. For me, for you guys, it might be one of those things where you just do it a couple times. You find out, okay, well, I've done it, been there, done that. It's like filming the same thing often and getting tired of it. So I myself will probably just try it out, use it a few times, definitely put it in video, and then I'll probably just kind of put it off to the wayside. But some people really like that stuff. There's some people that are just so crazy about features like Follow Me, and they use them in so many different really cool situations, and I never even think about Follow Me.
I don't think I've ever, used Follow Me except to demo it in a video. Like, I've never used it in like real life, like in any way. Like I don't look at my computer and say, oh, here's a video of me walking someplace and the drone is following me and capturing all this video. Like it's not something I put into my my non-review workflow.
I would like to go like to a real busy park. It wouldn't be safe though. I know, guys, it wouldn't be safe, but I would like to go to like a busy park and have it follow me and just go screaming through there like a madman, screaming help, help, and having it chase me through.
The drone. Yeah. Well, I'm going to double down on the fact that, you know what, I'll probably never touch that precision landing on the Zino ever again. I had a really fun time trying it out a few times, and it was an object of entertainment. And I'll be honest with you, I'm done with it now.
Liar, liar. We're going to see it in the video. I know it.
Oh, it's going to be my next video.
No, it'll be upcoming after that. Some point in your YouTube time, somebody's going to do something with it, and then you'll want to try it out. Your interest will get the better of you, and we record everything, so I see one in the future. I'm calling you a liar.
So your point is never say never.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, what did I say last week about the Zino?
That's true. That's a good point.
I said I'm taking a break. I'm burnt out, and then.
Yeah.
Well, let's get into that a little bit. I mean, we want to. Well, we got 151. I'm going to shorten numbers because I'm kind of dyslexic reading off a bunch of numbers, and we got that right before Memorial Day in the U.S. here to the folks in the U.S. And then we had gone a long time without an update, and we got 1.51. So we kind of were all resting on our laurels, not expecting anything for a long time. And then maybe 2 weeks or less, we get 152. I mean,
yeah, I think we might have lost
that.
Yeah, we might have lost Chris here, Ron.
Oh, Chris, you there? I think he froze.
Yeah, we'll see if he jumps back in. But your point is well made, Ron. I like you. So I did a bunch of videos on 151, and I kind of beat the dead horse a little bit with it. And I thought, well, I can put the Zino away for a while, and I'll be, I've got the Fimi and I've got the Parrot, and of course all my DJI stuff. I'll get to do some other stuff now. But then, heck, all of a sudden, here comes 1.1.52. So, but let's add, Ron. It was really worth. It's the best one. I think it's the best update I've seen from Hubsan. Right? Would you agree?
Well, I mean, outside the good camera updates and whatever. I mean, it was one camera update that came in January that turned it from soft focus to being a really good camera. So this is in the same ballpark with that. The speed, again, we've all mentioned the precision landings, kind of a gimmick, and the album thing is just, it's not a gimmick. It's every cheap $100 Wi-Fi drone has that album thing you see in your phone. So why can't the Zino have it? But the speed.
You know where that album will be a big deal for. So the Zino is low priced enough that you see a lot of people in countries that maybe they don't have a lot of money and their standard of living, and so they don't have a computer. So all they really have is their mobile device, and so that's where they're going to get all their video and edit and everything. So I think that's the one where that really will help some people.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really glad they they added it. But again, it was like a feature thing. They had to. Everybody else has it, including drones even cheaper than the Zino. I don't know if you saw Better with the Drone, some of the chat going on there. He thinks he had a battery connection issue with his Zino, and that's what causes crash, maybe more so than the firmware update.
Yeah, because the way he talked, it just fell right out of the sky. So that sounds about right. And he was saying that it was the original. I was looking at the chat too. He said it was his original battery that he'd used a lot. So for everybody to be aware of that. Hey, so one more comment here that we had forgot about, and BC and the FK, Bob, Cindy, and the foster kids brought up that he likes having the Latin lawn on the Zino again, and I totally agree. We used to have that, then it disappeared, and now they give us the option of having it back. And thank you for bringing that up. I totally agree. I like having that as well.
And I see we have Coast to Coast Roads in here. That's Bill Thomas. And at the very beginning of this chat, Bill sent me a link. It was a link to a DJI. I'll call it an event they had 2 weeks ago with kind of like AI and rovers and things like that. So that could be maybe a prelude to what we're going to see tomorrow night. And just to make a couple programming notes, Marcus and I are going to appear late night. We're going to do our first late night special tomorrow night. We're going to be on Bill the Drone Reviewer show at approximately 10:45 Eastern Standard Time, I believe. Is that right, Marcus?
It is. So that'll be 8:45 my time in Idaho, and it will be timed, of course, 15 minutes after the big DJI reveal. And I think, speaking of Bill Thomas, I think he made some pretty good predictions about what that might be. And I think we all kind of have an idea. It's a land-based vehicle, but what we don't know is what is the functionality of it. Is it a teaching device? Is it a photographic device? Is it all of the above? It'll be interesting to find out what that is.
Right. So we're going to talk about it, like give our first impressions tomorrow night. And then I will be on Coast to Coast Drones as I normally on Wednesday. And I'm sure we will go into detail on Bill's show on what is announced and who it's for, and, you know, how it fits into the, the workflow of all us RC and drone people. So the QC guy's back. He said he lost internet. He's in the chat. So, and again, if we have any programming notes, tomorrow night, Bill the Drone Reviewer, then Coast to Coast Drones on Drone Therapy on Wednesday. Next week for ZinoNation, we are proud to announce we will have another returning guest, Brian Singleton from True Drone Reviews, and we will talk about the Fimi, but not the Fimi X8. We will be talking about the Fimi A3. He already has a review up on his channel of it. I'm sure it's going to be more to come on it. So that's going to be a great show, don't you think, Marcus?
That should really be interesting. That should really be good. Then I also want to mention Coast to Coast Drones and Drone Therapy. So Bill, who are you having on your show on Wednesday night? You might put a plug in there. And Ron, I don't know. You may already know. I'm not sure.
Nemo's a regular on the show now, and we'll probably. I think John Coopy will be back this week. He was also moving, like I was. It took last week off, and we may have the Quad Father back on again. But while you're in the chat there, Marcus, could you run down all the people that are in the chat and give them a shout out?
Hey, I see the QC guy.
Yeah.
And of course, Bill at Coast to Coast Drones, Johnny the Drone Flyer, and BC and the FK Bob and Cindy and the Foster Kids says to call him Bermuda Bob. So Bermuda Bob. So now I've seen you on Facebook with that. So now I know I can make that connection. Greg Traver. I know I saw Cigar Nation Warrior in there. I saw Artco Drones. Wow, I'm going to have to scroll up here to see everybody. Greg Traver. Let's see. I'm sorry. I've got my my other monitor up high. So, of course, Better with the Drone is in here. Hey, Curtis Dart's in here. I didn't see him earlier. Welcome, Curtis. And, of course, Dennis Neifler is in here. FSU grad has been in it for a while. Greg Pittman is here. Let's see who else.
Parks and Tech just showed up.
Parks and Tech has been in from early on. So if we missed you, I apologize. But that's we got a pretty good crowd in here today. 24 watching. That's a good crew tonight. So
I'm sorry, all the people probably tuned in to see Chris, and he's having internet trouble right now. But hopefully he can return before we sign off tonight. So
they're stuck with us.
Yeah. Do we have anything else to cover on the on 1.52? Let's talk about the connection issues which 151 caused.
Yeah, so Chris had he had some serious issues a number of times where and I had some similar stuff. So you have to believe that it's had something to do with that update. So when I upgraded to that 1.1.51, boy, I flew 2 or 3 batteries. I never had a problem. But then about the 4th time I took it up, before I even took off, before I even lifted off, I lost connection to the drone. So you go, okay, what's happening? So all I did is I just restarted the controller, boom, got it back, took it up in the air, and I did. I was at that particular time I was trying to prove that you had to be within 100 meters to set the controller as the center of an orbit, and it worked. But the minute the drone finished its orbit, I lost connection, and it, of course, did exactly what you would hope it would do. And I have my return to home set really high on all my drones. I set it way up there. I had it at 50 meters, which is roughly 160 some feet. So it went up and it came back and it landed perfectly. But it's a good thing because I had literally zero control of the drone. As a lot of Zino people know, sometimes you lose control, it'll reconnect. None of that. It didn't do that. Now, I did not try rebooting the controller. I suspect that would have reconnected, but whatever. Then I took off again, and I had some really bad toilet bowling. So, of course, we all know that when you get that bad, that means you need a compass calibration. So, dropped it back down, did that, and for the rest of that flight, the drone was fine. It was a solid connection, and I was flying right near a big cell tower, but it was solid. It was fine. And then of course came the upgrade to 5.2, and I have not. I've been 3 batteries. I've been through my 3rd battery now on 1.1.52, and have not had any connection problems. But I know Chris really had some frustrating issues with it.
I only got to fly one time on 1.51. Again, I hate to sound broken. I've been moving and I haven't had much time to fly. But I flew one time. I didn't have a connection issue like you and Chris did, where it had to land. But I did have like a kind of an out of range issue where I wasn't that far. Where it would what does it say when it's out of range? Does it say lost connection? What does it say across the top of the screen?
Yeah, it just says lost connection. And you got to remember, with the Zino, you have 2 different connections. You have the FPV and you have
the drone, right. Well, I mean, I got the warning that, and it wasn't that far away, but then it started coming back to me like it should, and I could regain control of it. So unlike you and Chris, I had the normal, out of range, disconnected. As soon as it got close, it wasn't a GPS hold, and I could fly it again. So I didn't have the same issues you were having. And I replicated that twice on that flight. It all happened in the same area. I could fly a different direction, the same distance, and I wasn't even at the 1,000 meters or kilometer. I mean, I was probably 500 meters or whatever. So it was some kind of a funny interference issue because I could fly another direction and not have it happen. So, I'm going to say I really didn't have the connection issue. So, but I only flew it one time, 2 batteries. I mean, 2 different flights, 2 batteries, but I didn't see it happen, fortunately for me. So, and of course, my flight today, I didn't fly far at all, but there was no connection issues at all.
Well, we should probably back up a little bit, Ron, and talk about that before 5.1 and 5.0 when they upgraded. They messed up the connection, the reconnect at disconnection, or excuse me, that the drone would return to home at loss of connection. So all of a sudden, people started noticing on their Zino, if they flew it out to limit, where it would disconnect, and I've done that a number of times. It flies out to about 1 kilometer. I've never got it. I don't think I've ever got it to a full kilometer, but I've had it out to 980 meters or whatever, but what would normally happen is as soon as it lost connection, that drone would flip around and start returning to home. And the point of that is getting closer to you so that it can reconnect to the controller. And then all of a sudden we had this 0.50, I believe it was. It just quit doing that. So the drone would just sit there and hover, and it would not return to home until it reached that low battery status, which was, I think, 25%. So you had to hope that 25% was enough to get you home. But what the cure was, and Chris is back on here, good. What the cure was is that you could either just disconnect from the controller, or you could cycle your controller off and on, and that would prompt the drone to come back to you. Now they cured it then in the next upgrade in 1.1.51. As soon as it lost control, it would start coming back, and you'd get a little stutter on its way back there. And then I tested 5.2, and it still does flip around and start coming back to you. So
Right.
That's a good thing. And Chris, if you're on, I'll let you talk about. Yeah, I know you had some issues with the way it does that out of range return to home.
Okay. First, I want to apologize for that. We lost total internet, so I had to hurry up, and I couldn't find my that stupid dongle for the iPhone for my headset. But yeah. So,
Your volume's a little low.
huh?
Your volume's a little low on your voice.
Maybe I have to bring it closer since it's my phone. Is that better?
That's a little better.
Okay, I'll keep it close. But yeah, those disconnects, they didn't happen today. And for the video, I did 3 batteries. And prior to that, I just did some, made sure the startups were okay. And so far, hadn't had any disconnects. But man, what a pain in the butt they were, because every disconnect happened on startup only. Like I mentioned before, I had the one where it did take off and I had to grab it. But others have it in different situations. So it's not just, I've never had one person, a whole group of people just say, yep, that's exactly how it is. It's exactly how it is. It's like a handful say, yep, mine's doing the same thing. And then others are having all kinds of other disconnect issues. So I was thinking that 5.2 would not fix this, because this to me was a feature update, but so far I haven't had it, so I don't know.
Well, that's good. Did we miss anything then with this update? I think we've kind of hit all the big. That was kind of the last one, and yeah, Ron, you didn't have any. You talked about your disconnection that you had, so yeah, we probably beat that horse to where it's fallen over already.
Well, I saw other people, out on the internet, also had disconnection issues, maybe not quite as bad as Chris, but I've heard other people have disconnect issues with 151. So, it was something to be concerned about. But again, and I agree with Chris. I didn't think that this 152 would fix it, because it came too soon. It came before they could even got feedback that there was disconnection issues, unless they kind of,
and
kind of mistake right out of the box.
Something might have just been created there, and they realized it once they released it and already knew, okay, in our next update, we got to make sure we take care of this. So they might have already had the fix and just implemented it in there. So hopefully it's gone, because it's frustrating enough if you're just going out to fly on your own for a hobby or whatever. But when you really are just set to make a video and all your points you want to do and you can't do it, it takes all day long, 5 batteries to do the simplest shoot. When I did my one with waypoints, that was 5 batteries.
Wow.
Yeah.
Hey, so there's one more thing I thought about that we might touch on with regard to the Zino, and that is where to buy it and how to buy it. And I know that I've seen some remarkable deals that people have got on eBay, the make offer type of deals. if you go into eBay and you click on the Zino and you click on sold items, you can see a list of what people actually paid for in the offers that were accepted. Some people bought that Zino for brand new for like $225. So it's worth people looking at that. And then, Chris, I don't know, is your discount code still active? I want to mention that Gorilla Man told me this morning that he looked at as if he was going to buy it in the United States, and on Banggood using your code, he said that it was down to like $225. Now I saw that, so I tried to recreate it, and I couldn't get it that down that low.
It should not be that low. It should be like $280.
Yeah.
Black is sold out though. It's
so you'll be glad to hear this. Gorilla Man got a black one. Did you see that?
No, I did not.
Yeah, he got a black one. He's ordered one.
A couple days I missed it.
In the chat, Dutch Sky Team is asking, has anyone seen the Black Zino live? As far as I know, I don't know anybody who's received one yet.
No, I haven't seen it live.
Well, we know one guy that ordered one, so we'll have to see.
We'll get Gorilla Man on that episode when he gets it, right?
He won't do it. I don't know. Maybe Chris can talk him into it, but
I tried. He will not do it.
Yeah.
He told me he doesn't have a filter.
Yeah.
Hey guys, one thing I wanted to touch base with on the Zino with this update, since you have this speed control, and it's very important that people know it. And I don't know if you guys might have talked about it while I was broke out there, but in my situation, and I know people say don't fly underneath trees or anything like that. You know, I went through that covered bridge and under the bridge. I fly under trees too. So today, that's what I was doing. I was under this huge old tree, and I had it set at real low speeds, and I wasn't paying attention to my battery, and because I had it down low and it was right in front of me. So I brought it in close. The battery got low enough to where it initiated return to home while I have nothing but this huge blanket of tree above me.
Oh no.
Oh no. I was so lucky, man. And it's going to be great for the video because it showed up on my hat cam perfectly because I was looking up and there's some adult content when that happened.
Oh.
But I looked up at it, plus the camera of the quad got it as well as it's going through. The only little hole, and I'm talking a little hole in the branches, the Zino went perfect right up in there, didn't nick one single leaf. So if you ever are in a situation where you're filming something up close and you're in the little slow mode, it's gonna, when it gets down in a low battery state to initiate that return to home, it goes full throttle 100% again, and it freaked me out. Like I first was thinking I'm having my first flyaway or something, and I won't edit any of that out because I did react like, oh my God, I can't see it anymore. It's out of control. I can't control it. And then I looked down and I'm like, oh, your battery's dead. It's dying. So it's in return to home.
So it missed all those branches. Did maybe 152 has optical avoidance added in too?
That's the next thing I was going to say. The obstacle avoidance worked perfectly.
Well, hey, go ahead, Marcus.
Well, Ron, I just wanted to say, take a look at the chat. Look who showed up here. True Reviews.
It says he never had a problem with the Zino waypoints. They work very well, Brian. And Brian, we already announced you as our special guest on next week's ZinoNation that you're going to come on and tell everybody your thoughts on the Fimi A3. And I'm sure we have a lot of people in our group that would be very interested in hearing your thoughts. And Chris, I believe am I correct? You have ordered the A3?
Yes. Okay. It's on the slow boat, but it's on its way. And one thing that I've been sitting on for a week and haven't even opened is the Bebop.
Oh, nice.
It's still sealed in the box. I haven't even cracked it open yet, just because I've been so busy. It's been a hard week.
Nice. I got a couple quads here I haven't opened up too. So nothing as nice to be about too, but I've got some things to get around too.
Ron. So I need to mention there's this baby.
Oh boy.
That's the $20 one. I got that Tony McClendon.
Right.
A link up for that. And thanks to Chris. So Chris posted a link for this guy. And I haven't taken it out of the box yet.
That's been a little while, man.
Yeah, it has. It's been sitting in the box that whole time.
That's a Miffley one, right?
Yeah, was it?
Yeah, that was from Miffley.
Maybe it was. Yeah. Maybe it was. I can't remember if it was eBay or what it was. Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. Anyway, that if we're talking about drones that are still in the box, I guess.
Right.
Now the guy that doesn't have drones still in a box is in the chat, and that's of course Brian, the most prolific drone reviewer on the net.
I don't know how he keeps up.
And not only drone reviewer, but drone supplier. He supplies half of YouTube with review units.
Right behind you there, huh, Ron?
Right.
Yeah.
I got one of his models in the corner. I have to review the. It's a JJRC. It's like a 360 drone.
Well, I think he has to send them out, because if not, he's not going to fit in the house.
He lives in an apartment.
Well, yeah, then definitely he's got to be getting rid of those suckers, or he's just not going to have room. He's going to be stepping over quads.
Right. Listen, guys, we'll kind of wrap up on the Zino here, but something we talked about off air. Unless somebody else has something to say. The firmware that's currently on the Zino now, the 152. At this point, I think maybe we're in agreement. At this point, we can kind of fully recommend the Zino at this price point, the under $300 price point now, to most people. I mean, you got to be a little bit of a hobbyist because the updates aren't real easy, but it's pretty much a full recommend. It's a shame that it wasn't released in this state, but it got here now. What's your thoughts, Marcus?
Good.
Or Chris, go ahead.
I definitely can recommend it at this because now you got the bonus of that. But my thing too, I want to point out, with the crazy updates, and I get frustrated because I get frustrated with the updates, and I say things about the updates, kind of sound insult to Hubsan, but they are antique ways of doing updates. But to me, that's kind of part of the hobby. Like, it's fun to figure out how to make this work or that work. Just like, you learning the precise landing today, Ron. I mean, Marcus, it's something you had to do on your own because they don't supply it in a manual. So all those type things right there, if you like to tweak and play with things, or you'd like to mess around on the computer, that's where the Zino's fun for me. I enjoy all that kind of stuff. So I just don't recommend it for somebody who is not computer savvy because of the update portion of it alone. I mean, I've worked with enough people almost every day, somebody with update issues or something on the computer.
That they're clueless, that they just, not that they just don't have that skill set.
Yeah. I mean, it's very frustrating for them and frustrating for me too, because I just want to jump through that computer and help them so bad.
Right.
So,
and what real fast, Marcus, before you go on, we need to add too that you have to own a Windows computer, or you probably shouldn't buy the Zino. If you only use your phone, or if you only have Macs, don't buy the Zino.
That's a great point. So here's what I'm going to say: under $300, this is the one you want to buy. If all you have is $300, buy the Zino. If you've got $400 and you find the Fimi X8 SE on sale for $399, buy that one. If you've got $450 and you can you're okay with a refurb, go on Amazon and buy the Anafi. So that's kind of in order the way I would say you'd want to look at that.
Or because you forgot the Spark.
The spark, that's true. Good. Thank you for bringing that up, Ron. You're absolutely right, because the spark does fit in there. And I ended up all in on that for about $335. And for just what Chris was talking about, somebody that maybe not be as technically astute, the flippin' spark is perfect because it updates on its own, all of that stuff, and it's typical DJI. It just works. Everything works really well. And if you can get one of those at a decent price, that's worth it. Understanding that your battery time is a lot less. The most frustrating thing about the Spark, and I'll bet you guys will agree, is just the flight time. Boy, just when you get up and you're starting to have fun and you're doing some things, you get that low battery and you got to land.
I've never jumped on board on the Spark. It never piqued my interest. I don't know why.
It's a cool, I'll tell you, it's really, I didn't until I got the deal that Ron found for me. And then I understood once I had it, because it is so easy to fly. It's so easy to get in the air. It's so easy to carry around because it's so small, and it's so capable that, yeah, I'm really glad I got a hold of that one.
I mean, the flight controller is on par with the Anafi. I mean, it doesn't have the battery life for the camera or any of the other things, but the flight controller, it is as precise as the Anafi.
Yeah, I think what put me off on it when it first came out. Now I know a lot different now, just from people like you guys owning them and sharing your experiences. But they really sold it as that hand gesture and selfie drone.
Yeah.
And to me, and I was making fun of it. I was calling it Sparky, and when people in my group said they got a Spark, I would put rainbow emojis up and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I just didn't. That wasn't me. I'm not a feature guy, so that wasn't me. But I am interested if there does come up with the Spark 2.
And Chris, I'm all with you. Like when I got it, it had all those hand features. And maybe like for about a week or two, you try all of this stuff, and then I've never touched that stuff again. But it just as a regular drone, I mean, even if you don't use anything but just flying it, I mean, it flies real good. It only has 1080p, but it's the best 1080p camera I've ever seen, though. I mean, it takes great photos too. I mean, and I'll put its 1080p against anybody's 1080p.
And it's that DJI, you can count on. It's a good build.
Right. You don't even need a computer to do the updates. If you're a person if your only internet device is your phone, you're fine. You can do all the updates and whatever you need to do. Marcus, we do have we may have another competitor when Brian comes on. The A3 we may have to put that in the under $300 price range to battle it out with the much improved Hubsan Zino.
Not from what I've seen.
Yeah.
Well, we'll wait for Brian to set us straight on that.
Yeah. Hey, we got a comment in the Dutch Sky Team is saying, what about the always underestimated Parrot Bebop? I don't know anything about that drone, although I'll say if it is the same level of quality and sophistication and refinement as the Anafi, heck yeah.
Well, Chris has it now, and he will be, I'm sure he will be comparing it to all the drones that we just mentioned in the near future.
Yeah, that's why I haven't cracked the box open, just because I know my behavior, and I'll be obsessive on it. And I've got that honey-do list of other quad stuff to do. So now with this update, I still have a few more Zino stuff. I've been forever in edit with the Parrot Anafi at the waterfall, so that one's going up next since it's all done. And once I crack the seal on that Bebop, I'll be videoing that to death probably.
Good. Now, not the Bebop 2, but Brian Singleton, he has the Bebop 1, and he needed batteries for his Bebop 1, but he couldn't find them affordably anywhere. I guess they're hard to find. I don't know if the same batteries as 2, but so he just bought a whole new refurb Bebop 1 just because it came with 2 batteries. It was like almost cheaper than buying the batteries on their own.
Yeah, I mean that they're doing that too with the Anafi batteries. I bought another Anafi battery because I quickly saw one for $99 on Amazon when they're like 125 minimum everywhere.
Right. Well, I said that in the show last week. Amazon sells them for 125, but Best Buy has them for 99. Not only in the store, but you can buy them online from Best Buy. I had a bunch of Best Buy coupons. I got one for almost nothing because I had gift card coupons and.
I don't even think the battery should be priced that high. It's not that power packed of a battery or special battery to where it should bring in $100 to buy that or $125 to buy that.
Right.
No more than $80 for that battery.
Oh, you're right, because the Mavic 2 Pro battery is only like 135.
Yeah.
And that's a 32-minute flight battery.
Yeah.
So
that, and you're totally restricted to that C-type charger.
Mm-hmm.
Barrett's got to make their money someplace.
Yeah, like charging you for a couple features or $2.
Yeah. Well, better than whatever $19.99. I think before. Again, we talked about this last week with Billy. Some of their slow start was their poor. We'll call it merchandising, where they came out with you had to pay a lot of money to get waypoints and whatever. Follow me. That was a mistake right out of the gate.
Yeah. I'd like to know just how much money they made just off of those two features alone, though, since this thing was introduced. Like, I guarantee they made a ton. Just adding up to 99 cents per user or $2 per user.
Right. So if they sold a million Anafis, then they made $1 for each one.
Yeah.
Well, and even if you bought it at the beginning when it was $17.99 or whatever, of course you're going to get them. Why would you, if you spent that much money on the drone, all of a sudden you're not going to unlock some of the features? Of course you are.
Especially if somebody on their YouTube channel is really good with them and makes those features look awesome. And, oh, man, I want to get that. I want to do it. And then you're going to spend the money.
I mean, a lot of people like the waypoint features on the Anafi better than they do, other drones. Well, I'll say DJI, who just recently came out with waypoints 2.0. Before that, they definitely weren't as good. But again, some people preferred the waypoints on the Anafi over anything else. Well, these people don't have if you have the Litchi app for DJI drones, nothing can touch the Litchi app for waypoints, but that's a paid for app.
I've yet to use waypoints on it. I don't really care for them. I mean, I got them because they're there and they're available to get and they were cheap and figured better get them in case they do raise the price up for some stupid reason, but I've yet to use them. I don't know that I'll ever use them, but.
Right. I mean, they have their uses. I mean, I've talked about this before, but I did this flight over the Margate Bay last year where I flew the certain points and I got closer doing the waypoints than I would if I would have flown manually because, the line of sight wouldn't have been as good. But, and at least what you can do is you can create your waypoint flight. You don't even have to have your controller or drone. You can do it on their website. And then that transfers back to the app and to the drone. So I mapped out this perfect waypoint flight where, again, I got closer to things than I would have otherwise. And, I got this real nice smooth flight because I could program the video to stop, start, take pictures at some points and restart the video again. And, it's not something for the average flyer, but, I mean, you can really do some stuff with that you probably couldn't do flying manually.
Hey, so Ron, you're being awful humble here, but you're the guy that explained to me exactly how that Anafi waypoint mission worked. Why it was always trying to fly at 3 meters. So it's a little embarrassing. So I'm setting the waypoints up, right? And I noticed all of them were number 3, and I'm going, well, shouldn't it be 1, 2, 3, 4? But So start the thing, and I started it with the drone with way up there. Well, the drone is diving down. Well, yeah, what that 3 meant was 3 meters, and I had it shoot right over the top of some trees, and yeah, it would have been bad. I fortunately caught it, but yeah, that was. But Ron set me straight.
That's funny. You're lucky. I mean, that could have been really bad if you started off high and it's diving down for the 3 meters.
Yeah, and fortunately, I could see it line of sight. I was looking at it. I'm going, well, what the heck? You know, it's diving down. So, and the other cool thing about the Anafi though is that you didn't necessarily have to exit out of that mode, of the waypoint mode. I just hit the up stick and boom, it went straight up. So that was good.
I flew the waypoints the first time, beginning of May on the beach, and you know, it's cold in the beginning of May. I was the only one on the beach, and I did the waypoint. So I just saw it get lower, 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 and then I looked over and said, "Oh, this is set at 3 meters." You know, but I mean, Ken, it wouldn't hurt anything. Again, if I was on the beach, it was nothing to hit. There was no people there, but I just saw it going low, lower, and I saw the 3 meters. So I said, "Oh, okay, we gotta get this up to like, you know."
Yeah. I wasn't that smart. Hey, Ron. So in the chat here, I see Parks and Tech is asking if anybody's going to spin up. I can say for a fact that I sure want to, and it is my intention to go. You know, I can't say with 100% certainty. And how about you, Ron?
Yes, Marcus and I both are trying our best to you know, get the spin up this year. It's in October. It's in the Austin area in Texas. Kelly Shores puts it together. Will be droners from all over the country. I think they had maybe 80 or 90 people last year, and they're shooting for more this year. And I forget the cost, but the cost goes up every couple months. So you want to get your ticket by the end of June, or it'll be more, you know, after that. So I think it's a one-day event. They rented a minor league baseball stadium last year, so you could actually fly your quad at the event too, as well as meet other, you know, drone flyers, YouTubers. I hate to say stars, but you know, people. So yeah, Marcus, I'm really interested in going. We'll have a ZinoNation booth there. You can come over and Marcus,
we'll sign autographs.
We'll sign Zino for you, and
yeah. What about Chris? Have you thought about it, Chris?
I have to ask my probation officer.
There you go. Mine approved. She said, "Heck yeah, as long as she gets to go."
No, I will not be going.
Okay.
And that's a shame because I mean I know people down around that area, but just work and I can't. I'm not retired yet, guys.
Right. Yeah.
Free time.
Yeah.
I don't get to run around wherever I want and race Corvettes and all that yet. Congratulations, by the way, on that, Marcus.
That was a good. I had a pretty good weekend there. Yeah, that was fun. Yeah, thank you.
So, so anyhow, so we hope to go to spin up, and Bill, the drone reviewer, may be going with us too. So, the more the merrier. I know Bill Thomas; he's trying to get there from coast to coast drones, but I know he said the ticket's very expensive from Seattle to Austin. So I know airfare can be a problem for many people. I know Bill, the drone reviewer, said he's going to fly Southwest. So you can get a cheap Southwest flight out there.
Well, at least two of the guys here in the chat say they're going. So Drone Obsessed Jerry is going, and FSU grad is going. And I don't know, Parks and Tech, are you going to go? We'll see what he says.
Well, you guys, we'll all try to coordinate and stay at the same hotel.
Yeah, if you look at that map there of where it's going to be at, there's a bunch of hotels around it. So
maybe we can
do a Facebook poll on the different groups about it and who's going, and then that way you'll have a list of who all's going.
Maybe we can get a whole floor and call it the ZinoNation floor. Get us like a group discount.
Wild and crazy time with ZinoNation.
ZinoNation.
It'll be like when the Who went on tour or something. Trash.
We're like Ozzy Osbourne's still going on tour now.
Does he still trash your room?
I think he's still trampling around.
Okay.
So it'll be the old guys.
Okay. Well, in my case, that's a fact.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Before we get too far off the rails here, does anybody have any information on the the Anafi, the Fimi, or any new videos about those quads they want to share with our studio audience?
I'm very proud of this Anafi video that I am putting up. If I get my damn internet back, that makes me mad. But it's all ready to load up on YouTube, and I'm not the greatest editor in my videos, but I'm very proud of this one. I took my time with it, put some of my favorite classical music to it for those type of videos. But again, it's a new waterfall, and of course, I get up and close with it. And with this one, I actually fly behind the waterfall. So that I was kind of keeping secret, but I'll reveal it. I did fly behind the waterfall while I was behind the waterfall, and it was outside the waterfall. So it's a pretty cool video. It's a beautiful waterfall. It wasn't a great area to fly signal-wise. I had a warning the whole time that my camera mode functions wouldn't operate properly, and a couple times that did show true. But all in all, got through it safely, and I'd like everybody to just keep a lookout for that one. If you don't subscribe to my channel, subscribe, and it'll be coming up, and along with my video for the Zino 1152 with my near crash into the branch.
Well, we're looking forward to both videos, and be sure to post the links to our YouTube, YouTube links in ZinoNation, so that's when people can find them if they can't find them any other place. And
so we're talking about the Fimi X8 SE. I did ask for more prices for $399 on that, and I was so far approved for I think 3 or 4 quads only. So once I get those codes and they're available, I'll put them out on, with my videos and in the various groups, and hopefully people can snatch up a $399 Fimi X8 SE.
That is a steal for that quad.
Oh yeah, love that quad.
Great buy. Yeah, $399, man. That's a lot of machine for that money.
Hey, Chris, quick question on the QC Guy Facebook group. Are you only allowed to post things concerning Hubsan, or can you? I mean, no, I'm not trying to cause any trouble. I just don't want to post anything there that I'm not supposed to post.
He must not have seen it, Chris. He must not have seen that post.
Now, Marcus, I'm glad you're active. Thank you very much for being an active member. Ron, I don't know what's wrong with you.
Well, I mean, I saw discussion about it, but I never saw the final verdict.
People are very sensitive about it, and part of it, I think, is when they first come to that group still today, since it's QC Help and Support, I think they think it's an official Hubsan group. Once you're in there, you've got to know it's not. I mean, you're getting, I think you get incredible help. I think it's probably one of the best Hubsan groups there is for your help and support. It's definitely better than their own. But that's what they're coming for. They're coming in there for that. But there's so many of us, it's kind of a 50-50 split. There's so many of us that we want to talk about these other quads, and it's a big world out there. And if you don't like it, you can scroll past it. So basically, I just said, yes, post your other stuff. If you want to post a Fimi, if you want to post DJI, whatever, do it. But just do it in moderation.
Don't spam it.
Yeah.
Right.
Because then I just get hit with people reporting that post. Yeah. So, I like to see people post other stuff too. So, like right now, I don't understand why more people aren't complaining that all it is Zino. I mean, it's like ZinoNation in there. I mean, I see a 501 post come up and I get excited.
Right.
But yes, you can just, I might have to give you the boot though if you do it a little too much wrong.
Understood. And as far as ZinoNation Facebook group, you can post anything you want in there. I don't think I've reviewed the post yet.
Yeah, I mean that's great. That's the way it should be. I mean, people know where to come to get help and support in my group, and you're going to learn something else. And not only that, with me doing the Banggood affiliation, the stuff I was doing with Miffley. I haven't done anything with them in a little while, but you might pick up on a good deal of something else and realize, hey, this is better. This is a cheaper price than the Zino right now. I'm going to grab that, and be glad you're in a group where people are allowed to talk about it. I myself don't like to do a whole bunch of group jumping around. Like, I don't like to go into the Parrot group. I don't like to go into the Fimi group, and I won't say why. I think it's obvious if you've been in those groups.
Oh, I haven't, but
oh my God. Well, I mean, Marcus, you and I talked about the caps, the motor caps. You can't even see motor caps in the Parrot Anafi group, and it's just ridiculous. And when you see me go underneath this fall, I don't know if they actually did anything to protect, but I know no water was getting inside those wide open motors, so I was happy with that. I was not under the fall like in it, but I mean I was under it as close as I could get using that upward camera, and water was coming down from the top of it. Yeah, I mean sometimes it got. I watched it. It was getting some pretty good big drops on it, bouncing off of it. I can't wait to post that video. That's probably my most proudest video.
I'm really excited to see it.
Well, I'll clear my schedule tomorrow.
Have your cup of coffee or tea in the morning, and hopefully it'll be up. But I'm still looking at the words "no internet" on my screen. So
yeah,
we had a storm, so something might have happened.
Okay. Yeah, I'll prepare a double latte tomorrow. Well, guys, we've gone about an hour and a half now. Does anybody have any other subjects they want to touch on before we wrap up for the night?
No, just go ahead, Marcus. I keep.
Well, I was just going to say, I think we've beat on this little guy about all we can for 1 hour and a half.
Yeah, that one I will say I will not retract so far. I don't think I will retract calling that one a godsend. The other one I called a godsend, and then I started retracting because of the disconnects. But yeah, I highly recommend everybody update to 5.2. If you have any problems doing your firmware updates, you know what group to join. Hubsan QC Help and Support. And help support my charity cause. I'm going to just keep going with that. And so whenever you want something from Banggood, if I don't have a link for it, I can generate a link, anything they sell, and give you that link, and then the commission will go to me. It doesn't cost you anything else. I feel like I'm really pimping myself out here for it, but it's all for a good cause. I want to put it towards different various charities every time I reach a goal, whatever that goal might be, and do good with it.
Perfect.
Well,
so, Ron, yes, for me, gosh, I don't know that I have that much more to add. Let's. The only thing I can think of to bring up is let's hope that Hubsan gets the Android version of the upgraded app out as soon as possible, because in the chat rooms you see a lot of people screaming for it. Not necessarily our chat, but on Facebook, etc. And you know, when you know there's a new feature out there, you want it as soon as you can. So
yeah,
let's hope that those guys get it soon. So that's about all I've got. I want to tell you, Chris, I sure appreciate you coming on tonight, and with disconnections and everything else, it's always a good chat when you're on the program.
Thank you very much, and you know, anytime I'd love to be on. I like doing it a lot.
Well, I thank you for being on again. I think you're kind of our first repeat guest, and it was great to have you back. We look forward to having you again soon, and best of luck with you know, the affiliate sales to raise money for the Children's Hospital. It's a great cause. We wholeheartedly support you. Any way we can help, drop a links in the show notes or ZinoNation. We want to be part of that and help. And I want to say out there, now that we have the speed control for the Zino, everybody that's in the chat here or in the group, go out and take some cinematic video with your Zino, like Chris is. Like Chris is doing waterfalls and reservoirs and whatever. Get some cinematic video. It doesn't have to be long. It doesn't have to be 30 minutes. If you get 2 minutes of cinematic video, post them up in ZinoNation, and we'll try to, push them and talk about them. And, we want to see your best cinematic video now that ZinoNation is a real camera platform now with this smooth yaw. So I guess I'm going to wrap things up tonight. I want to thank everybody that joined us in chat tonight. We're glad to have our loyal people in here and our new people. You had some great questions and comments tonight. So please join us again next Monday. I don't know the date off the top of my head. Brian Singleton. We'll be talking about the Fimi A3. That's the smaller one of the Fimis. It's around a $250 to $300 quad. It's the one that has the built-in screen, so you don't need to use your phone with it. So it's going to be real interesting. So good night, everyone. Thanks for joining us, and be safe out there.
Night.